Hi, my name is Boris. I'm with Joranalogue audio design. I take care of production and design. We're here today with this small system that's got at least one of each of the modules in there, and we're gonna try and make a fun patch with it. Yes, so this is Enhance 2. It's a stereophonic enhancer. So it's a module. It takes left and right audio in. And gives left and right audio as an output, and what's in between there is actually mid-side processing, which can be done. You've got the control of the balance of a sound, so you put an oscillator in the left inlet, it will be left or right, and you have a tilt filter on the mid channel, a tilt filter on the right channel, switchable between bass and treble tilt tilt point. So very nice module to use at the end of any stereo mix to do some final stereo tweaking and mid-side balancing, but also very nice to use in the beginning of a sound design process to make lush stereo paths or lush stereo leads. Or anything you want really. So I'll put a second oscillator in there, so we'll hear the left oscillator on the left now, the right oscillator. And then by controlling the width, we can either make it into a mono signal, back into the stereo signal the way it comes in, and then even widen it more, like this. If we now want, we can control, or we can modulate or process. That's the better word. Process the mid channel separately from the sides, or the sides and the sides separately from the mids. So I've taken the mids out, just put it through a mix, so we can process this later. And maybe take the sides out and put those through a filter, and then the filter back in. Let's say we take the band boost plus notch out. So now if we control this filter, we'll only hear a difference in the stereo field, and when we control the mids, we'll hear the mids go away. So what we've done now is we've taken out the mid channel and the side channel, and we're processing them separately. So maybe now it's time to have a look at step 8 and see what we can use from step 8 to start, or maybe use step 8 to modulate enhance, because we can now modulate the left tilt, the mid tilt filter, the side tilt filter, the balance of the signal, and the width, of course. So now we can just use a contour here to make in loop mode, to make a fixed clock. Take the rise out from that contour and just clock our step. So step 8 is probably everyone knows it by now already. It's an 8-step or a sequential switch and a shift register. We're gonna use it today in one of the funnest modes, I think. Although all the modes are fun, but as a shift register. In combination with orbit. So at the input of step 8, we'll put a chaotic voltage from orbit, and that will be, because the step is in shift mode. In all mode, all of the stages get their output at the analog output. In solo mode, only the selected stage gets its output. We're gonna use all of the analog outputs today, so in parallel. And then in tracking or in sampling mode, this will give different flavors. Sampling mode, it will of course sample each time a step is received at the first stage. In track mode, it will just use the sequential switch and switch the incoming signal to the consecutive or to the selected outputs. Yes, so the faders are always attenuators for the incoming voltage. So if no input is if step sees no input, it's normal to 5 volts. So your fader is gonna be attenuating the 5 volt at the input. And the 5 volt at the input is constantly sampled. If we now use, for example, the output of the first stage, yeah, as a modulation source for the balance of our sound, and the other one to control the width, we can create nice stereo leads based on two oscillator sounds, really shape our sound in the stereo field. So what's happening here is orbit 3 is generating a voltage that's being sampled and with every step pushed forward in the shift register. Thus we get varying voltages on these two faders. If we now want to get rid of this modulation or want to attenuate it, we can just turn this down. Only have the balance modulation, or only have the width modulation, or anything in between. So now we've got enhance used as a stereo modulator. We are modulating the balance and the width, and we can modulate the mid and the side tilt frequencies, for example, also by using an output of orbit 3. And we've now made a dirty sound. So what I would like to do next is, since we've got this modulation going on, maybe make it a bit less drony and just chop it up in steps, so we can have a bit of just a bass lead or something. Yeah. So we'll take the step out from our step 8 sequencer and use it to trigger a contour, which we will then use to open up the VCA of our mid-channel mix. And the side channel mix we've got is just a side channel through the filter, so we might as well use that same one, take the invert output and then re-invert it into the filter. So now we've got a chopped up synth line, and we can hear that the stereo modulation we're doing through enhance is making it, and the modulation we're doing from step 8 in enhance is already making it a lot more interesting than just a forward. Moreover, these effects are in the stereo realm. I haven't got headphones on, but it should sound stereo. So that's where we're at now. Let's just do the same trick again with the next two step 8 outputs. So we've got information coming from step 8, and we're gonna compare this information with our compared to dual window comparator. So it's 2 times the same thing. It's gonna extract gates from the incoming signal depending on whether this incoming signal falls within a preset window, and that window's got a size, and a shift in the voltage domain. What we can see here is, so we're getting gates on the output of both of the inputs. So we can use those to, for example, maybe use the first one to control a bass kick or something. So we'll use filter 8 for that. Filter 8's got a ping input, which makes it briefly self-resonate. So we've now created a bass kick pattern based on orbit 3 information that's being stepped, shift registered on channel 3 of step 8. So we can change this by changing the size or the shift of compare to, or completely mute it by having this one and then have everything straightforward again. Do something like that. I would like to show a little trick with mix 3. It's ducking. So we have this constantly going, even with this modulation on there. It'd be nice if it went away when the bass kick dropped. So how can we achieve this? That's by, so if we've got a bass kick on, this is our bass kick envelope. I'm just gonna use the same, or the same trigger, let's say, to trigger a new envelope, which I will then put through select. Where is it? Out. Like this. And then use this one. So I'll attenuate it here. Then, because there's no output here, it will be added to the second channel, and I'll take it out here. And now we've got the right voltage to every time we hear a bass kick, it will ever so slightly dim the lead. So if I take the bass kick away, so what we can now do is, because we've got step 8 and orbit 3 is, they're not in sync. So what happens is you always get different data going through step 8. But if we use, for example, the last step of the analog outputs, so when the last step is selected, and we use that step to reset orbit, and let's even use it through switch 4, so we can manually control this. But this is going to be the difference between repetitive and chaotic. All right. Yeah. So maybe because we've got a second channel that we put through compare, that's generating gates, which I could use to plug our upcoming module delay 1. So this module will be out first quarter of next year. It's a BBD, bucket brigade delay, 50 milliseconds of delay time, very clean. Can be plugged, so there's an internal noise circuit that can be tickled, and then it can be used for car plus strong synthesis. but also for delay lines and whatnot. I'm just going to use it now. I'm going to use the plug input as generated by, with a trigger generated by compare to, and just take the output of the module and mix it in with our main signal here. And then we'll get a bit of a clap, maybe go a clap or a head or a snare. So now we get this rhythm that's generated by Contour out of these two channels. So if I don't want this, I just turn them off and they're gone. If I want to change the rhythms by changing the level of those, Compare will react differently and will, yeah, you can just fiddle about and find interesting spots. Okay, so thank you all for watching. More information in the links below, and there will be a blog post as well. So keep your eyes out for that. Thank you.